Fabulous. So good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you all can see my slides. Is that correct? Awesome. So we are so excited to have this Chairs Chat with you folks about some of the changes that we have been moving forward with. And so to get our time started, just so you know who's on with you all today, I will go ahead and let my counterpart introduce herself.
Good afternoon. My name is Caress Gillespie. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the chair select for the TPE committee. And I also serve as an assistant director at Syracuse University.
And then Denaja.
Hello and good afternoon, everybody. I am Denaja Pendergrass-Thomas, and I serve as the director of the Placement Exchange, which means I have the privilege of working with Tim and Caress and about 13 other committee members on putting together what's going to be an exciting placement event this year.
And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Tim Layson. I serve as our TPE chair for the current year. And so that's what I do for TPE. And then my day job, I serve as the associate director for University Housing Operations at Northern Kentucky University. So really excited to spend some time with you all today. What we're going to talk through is just the current state of our job search, our job searching, letting you all know what we've been working on, and then starting to break down TPE 2023 because it's our Jordan year. And I think we want to acknowledge that and share the excitement with you all about what's going to be happening in the next couple of months. Then also talk through some of our events that we have upcoming because we have our TPE Academy starting tomorrow, and I will definitely let Caress have the time and floor on that because I know that she and Denaja have been working really hard on scaling up that event for this week. So to start with, just to kind of give everyone the perspective of what we've been operating under for TPE is that job searching is now a 365-day activity. Institutions are continuing to post positions, and job seekers are continuing to look for jobs. I think what we've been talking about are gone in the days of our traditional spring recruitment type of fair or event that we would have done even prior to 2019 when the last in-person TPE was happening, and that we really need to think about that in-person placement is no longer the primary method for talent recruitment. I think that's an important step for us as we all have been navigating this virtual space since the start of the pandemic, and even now with where we're at in our society of COVID being endemic in what we're doing. And the biggest thing is job seekers want to have the ability to search on their own terms. So being able to work with job seekers and the feedback that they've given to us in this current searching frame, and that people are just searching for jobs because they're either looking for a different opportunity, a better opportunity, better pay, a different location. They're searching because they want to search and aren't necessarily waiting for what we would consider those traditional timeframes. And so on the employer side, employers are looking for ways to recruit talent to help build longevity within their positions and institutions. I think that's a very generalized overview of what employers have shared with us, but they also share that it's hard for them to even get talent. And so TPE can assist in that way, and that for us as a student affairs profession, in the way that we recruit people, we also need to evolve in the way things are being done. When we look at and benchmark against some of our other partners, they've really done a great job in this virtual space of being able to recruit top talent, and in some cases recruit student affairs practitioners away from the traditional brick and mortar university. So I think as an association, well, as an entity, as part of two associations, we recognize the change that has to happen, and that the placement exchange in TPE, we're poised to meet those needs in what we're doing and how we do it, because of the way that we have refocused ourselves in the last couple of months.
So what have we been working on? So in the last year, we've had a task force, and so other professionals across our practitioners and folks that have worked with us in the past or not worked with us had looked at what we've been doing, our feedback. Our association partners, NASPA and COOLI, has really thought about what can we provide not only for job seekers and employers, and then what is needed to change, looking at what we did in our in-person event, but looking at what are the needs in a virtual job searching environment for employers and job seekers. And so looking at making sure that we reaffirm our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, accessibility, and belonging. Again, we're committed to making sure that this experience is accessible to job seekers. And so TPE is free and will always be free to job seekers. And so again, our job board to register as a job seeker is free. Making sure that we have that strategic investment from our partners association. So the technology, and so finding a technology that works for this experience. And so in the past, we've had an experience where we've had multiple Zoom links and engaged with all of our participants in a multitude of platforms and different modalities. And so again, we wanted to find a way and invest in a platform and a modality in this virtual experience that we could have a one-stop shop, right? And we could direct people and use resources that would be easily accessible for everyone, and then that people didn't have to feel like they were going all over. I think one of the advantages of the in-person experience, you would go to a site, everything would be in this convention center, and you'd just be running around a huge convention center doing whatever you needed to do. And so in this virtual experience, we wanted to make sure you could just click and kind of go through and zoom through the virtual channels. And so that's what you would find on this job platform, this job board. You'll do your interviewing, you'll chat, you'll set up, and you can even, as an employer, share the documentation and the notes that you would do on your candidate and your evaluation kind of process through the platform. And then again, thinking about the support that we offer for our candidates and our employers throughout this process, really making sure our committee structure supports that. And so unlike your job board or kind of isolated kind of postings that you might see out in the world, we really have a group of practitioners that are currently engaging in the profession and are really committed to thinking about how do we support those that are actively seeking employment or continuing to think about development in this field. How do we give them the tools and resources they need to be successful? And so our committee has been kind of revamped to not only think about the different levels of folks looking in our profession to career, change their careers or think about different levels in our careers, but thinking about our employers at different levels or different stages and coaching. And again, thinking about the various ways that within our profession, we need support throughout this process. And so again, we are a small part of a dynamic group of people that have been working the last year to provide blogs, actually live webinars, and various resources that you will be able to see if you've engaged with us, or over this next month as we do demonstrations and have these different sessions that will help you feel that you can be successful. Be it if you're just starting out and engaging with us, or if you've been with us for the last years, you'll see how this might shift with our new virtual way we're engaging on this new platform. And again, this is this one-stop shop. Again, last night I kind of joked that you're one-stop shop to get you to the top in regards to your searching or thinking about the candidates you want to bring to your campuses or organizations. Again, it seems really simple, but that's what it really should be as you think about transitioning wherever you are in your career or thinking about bringing new team members. It really should be very easy and not a stress. And that's what our goal is and what we've been working to find ways to enhance throughout this experience. And so again, questions that you might have, we'll go through some of the logistics of the things that we're offering. But again, it is that easy. And that's what we wanted to make sure you do. And I would say the other partner that we have in this process as part of our job board that you'll hear us refer to is Naylor. And Naylor is just the technical side, right? So we also thought about our institutions. We've all had to learn how to Zoom and Teams and various different technologies as we've adjusted to this virtual world. And so we've partnered with Naylor, who is the technical side of things, to really get and set up those technical things on this job board site to make you feel successful and help you as the employer, if you're posting positions and facilitating what we call a booth or recruiter space, really help you feel successful in that, so you don't have to figure out and go through multiple tutorials on how to get your position set up to be successful in that space. And so Naylor is that company will refer to, and those partners that will be helping on the technical side and really offer that concierge-like service to guide our employers to setting up the spaces and making sure that the candidates and our job seekers know what their positions and the opportunities that are being offered throughout this experience. Tim, not everyone in the world can hear you, but I know it's greatness.
I do this all the time. I'm so sorry. And what we're looking at for TPE 23 and really beyond is our rebranding of what the experience is looking like. And so for our job seekers and candidates, TPE is committed to ensuring that the job search experience is at no cost to you as a job seeker. I think that's important. That's been one of the biggest sources of feedback that we have gotten over the years, is that TPE, when it was in person, was really inaccessible to a good chunk of folks who are searching, because they don't have the personal funds or the departmental resources to help them facilitate a job search. I think one of the great things is that because we've switched to a newer platform for our job board, and then eventually the virtual platform, is that there's going to be two-way communications that can happen, that it's going to be a little bit more seamless than just like sending out email blasts to everyone. So the job board is really going to be the place, where we hone all of those resources, scheduling and communications and all that kind of good stuff. And then, of course, as part of your job seeker and candidate experience, we're going to continue to provide educational opportunities to assist you in your job search. So one of the things, obviously, is TPE Academy, which we're really excited about for this year and the iteration that we are doing it in. But we really wanted to make sure that for our job seekers that we're providing this space, that students are able to, or not students, but job seekers are able to communicate with employers efficiently and effectively, and be able to feel like they are getting the most out of this experience. And so Caress is about to look at the employer slide and just kind of break it down for what it's looking like for our employers.
Yeah, so here's an overview of the employer kind of logistics. So again, we know as employers, you have to go to your organizations and kind of institutional leadership and say, kind of, here's the cost, right? Here's why we're going to maybe subvert the HR processes a little bit and not utilize those. Again, it's the one-stop shop job board and experience for your recruitment and your recruitment teams. And it's kind of the most cost-effective rate. So again, instead of bringing and traveling teams to specific sites and locations, it really is kind of a structured approach to interviewing. And so here are the standard packages. Again, each kind of package comes with a customizable booth. So this is where you can share your school pride, your institutional values, things that kind of where we would traditionally have you decorate your different booths at TPE, that shows off your individual institutions or organizational flair. Again, with each different package, that comes of various numbers of postings. And so these are the different positions that you plan to kind of recruit for during kind of TPE virtual or just in general. Again, a thing to note about kind of the TPE job board, it's something that is beyond just the virtual experience. And so again, you can have postings there, and we hope and have folks understand that TPE and the TPE job board is something that is accessible year round. And so candidates can engage and again, have their profiles active at different levels of privacy or confidential. You'll see that when you register as a job seeker, but as employers, we hope and again, hope you understand that you can have these postings active and engage with us 365. But again, during the virtual experience, we'll have a more tailored and active engagement to, again, facilitate a live, active kind of, I would say, more job interviewing fair across a 3-day span. But again, you can be recruiting and facilitating interviews throughout, I would say, the entire year if you needed to. And then again, the amount of postings indicate the amount of recruiter seats that you would have. And these seats can be akin to, I would say, in the past, if you went to our live event, the number of tables you would have at that. So again, while you have one booth or one posting, you would have 2 recruiter seats. And so this gives you 2 separate spaces that you can facilitate interviews. And so when you go into the site and kind of once you register, those will give you kind of 2 different spaces you could facilitate interviews for. So let's say I was bringing, I had one post for a residence director position that myself and Tim were searching for. And then that would, the 2 recruiter seats would enable myself and Tim to interview 2 different candidates at the same time. Again, you could have that one-to-one video chat feature in the site where you can do those interviews. And throughout the actual TPE virtual experience, March 7th through the 9th, we have different kind of scenarios of interview rounds and a timeline that we have suggested for employers to, again, guide you through from March 7th through the beginning of April, an appropriate timeline that makes sense for candidates and communication that will help kind of get you through what is a reasonable process of managing first, second, and what we would traditionally call on-campus interviews. And so again, we can talk more and share resources to that. And so we've created a guide for employers on managing those things, but this is kind of the logistics of what the actual site will look like. And then again, the different packages include the access to the database. And so if candidates or job seekers have their profiles public or in the status to where they are open to seeking a job. So again, there's different statuses that candidates can have it to where they're available for viewing or available for communication to seek a job, then you have access to all of those. Candidates also do have the ability to have a profile on our site and have it completely confidential or completely invisible to job seekers. And so again, we did that to offer the ability for folks who may not be very public in how they're looking for different opportunities. So again, there might be more job seekers on the site than you might have access to view. And so then the last kind of feature on there, and there's different kind of additional features that come with the various packages, are the ability to have logoing, and specific branding to your institution on your specific landing page and booth site. So again, it's that customization and more so making your site, and then once you kind of click past the job posting, more specific to the branding of your institution or organization. And so those are kind of how the logistics of the different packages work. And again, they all kind of relate to, again, more things to make sure that the site and the experience you're offering to your job seekers speak more to the values and some of the branding of your institution. But ultimately, the way we're managing the virtual experience is really thinking about kind of making it an equitable experience for all of our job seekers to view all of our candidates that are available. And again, when we get to like the recruiter fair and the actual TPE interview days, we've organized our kind of employers by time zone and kind of region to make it kind of specific to our job seekers if they're looking for a regional based activity or regional placed position. We've aligned all our employers to do their searches and do active recruitment in time zones and mindful of time zones and then different timing based on different regions. And again, once you see kind of how those regions are laid out, particularly for our recruitment fair, and then how we've regionally, based on time zones, laid out the actual virtual interview days, it'll make more sense. But again, we've thought about time zones as we've laid out the interview days and time zones as we've laid out the recruiter fair to be more mindful of not only the employer experience, but candidates. So I want to pause and see if I've gotten through all the questions. I know, Tim, you've been doing a really great job of answering questions in the chat. Did we get to all of them?
Yeah, for the most part. So one thing that I do want to point out is that we're working with a new form of technology. And so we're still ironing out some of like, there was a great question about, can we record interviews? Yes, there will be the ability to record interviews during this time. The piece that we have to figure out, and it's more of a nailer question of like, how long will those recordings last after you're done interviewing? Because there are some elements where we will need to integrate some parts of Zoom into it. And so we're trying to figure out some of those pieces as well. There's another question that got sent to me directly about like, like when do you set up your booth? So no one can set up a booth yet. We are working with Naylor to get you a dummy demonstration booth. So that way, and that's actually one of the programs that we will be doing in the month of February. Actually, we'll just go ahead and go to the upcoming events. And so on February 13th is what we are slating for the demo day of our Naylor site and the virtual platform, So don't worry. We will also make sure that that session is also recorded, so that way folks can see. And then Naylor also has sent us some like tutorial links that we can also forward along, so that way you can all see the general scope of how it works. And so that's what we're going to look for the demo day. So everyone can register. So you have to register via the new job board. I think we've had some folks register on like via our former website. So when you go to the placementexchange.org, there's a big banner that says like, take me to the new job. I don't think it says take me to the new job board, but it's the job board. It's like the new job board where as an employer, you will create a profile. And as a job seeker and a candidate, you'll also create a profile, and you can toggle between both the employer view and the job seeker view. But when you go, and maybe I should probably stop my screen and show you all, that's where you're going to be able to register. So if you've registered on the old website, please email info@theplacementexchange.org. So that way Dinaja can work with our former website developers to like get that removed for you, because we are going to be asking everyone to go to the new job board to register. So it's a little bit of a newer process just because we're using a different job board site for registration. So let me actually.
Yes, and you registered through kind of buying, and as an employer, you register by purchasing a posting and creating a posting on the job board. And so differently than before, where you would register for the virtual event separately, it's not that you register for TPE virtual and then you do a job posting. That's different. And so again, I think there was a question of like, oh, there's no place to do like TPE virtual in my posting. Nope. Once you get participating in the posting, we'll communicate. So yeah, it's not just registering for TPE, it's just posting a job. Yes, so once you post a position, that's when we'll communicate with you about the recruiter fair, and then again, participating in the TPE virtual experience. So we want to make sure that you have some type of posting, so then we could engage with employers or engage with candidates around what you've posted. And so again, that's a different flow than what we've seen before, where you've registered for the virtual event without having a posting. And so I think that could be a little confusing to folks too. So we can make sure to clarify that on our site as well.
Yeah, and we'll also clarify that in our next newsletter as well when we send it out here in the next couple of days. So thank you all for the questions, because these are questions that we've definitely been getting. Or the question we're not getting, but the questions that myself and Chris have also been asking. how do I get the newsletter? Oh, Allie, we will, Allie, if you can direct message me your email, we will make sure you are on the list.
Yes, and then if you've had a profile on our former TPE site, you'd have to create a whole new profile on this site. So we didn't transfer any. So fun fact, any of our TPE, from our former TPE website, any of our profiles and our former newsletter acceptances, we've kind of tried to start anew. And so anyone who's registering currently for our TPE job board, again, you need to create a whole new profile on our new job board. And then again, if you want to sign up for our newsletter, you would do so either kind of by reaching out to us, or again, if you've registered for one of our events, we have added you to our kind of newsletter as a refresher, because we've learned that there were job profiles on our former TPE website from kind of the first TPE and that were inactive for years. And so again, instead of bringing all of that data over and it being obsolete, we've decided to kind of inform people creating and starting from a brand new profile. The job board doesn't have a draft section. Yes, so I would say keeping your draft pending. And again, if there's more technical things, particular to employer or job seeker, emailing us and we can triage those issues with you directly.
So yes, Matt, to answer your question, so we can look at the standard package, for example. Let me pull my screen back up here. So let me. Sorry, I need to, oh, there we go. So if you look at the standard package, so for $475, you get one customizable booth for your institution. Make sure the chat is on. So you get one job post with that and then two recruiter seats. So let me make sure I'm answering this. Did it say that you get, yes, you get one for the standard package. You get one job post and two recruiter seats. So you'll have, if you're hiring for a resident director, that is the one job post that you have that you will get, and then you'll have essentially two interviewing rooms to interview all of your candidates with based on the standard package. And so you'll also still have access to resumes and all of that kind of good stuff. And then depending on the package that you go with, it'll increase the number of job postings, the number of recruiter seats that you can have. And so the recruiter seats are just like your avenues of how you can interview people, but you can have like 2 or 3 people in an interview room or a recruiter seat interviewing a candidate at any one time. It's just the number of actual interview spaces that you get, or the number of interview tables that you have during the virtual experience. Yes, Tiaza, I see your question. We will definitely get back to Dinaja on that and make sure that the job board site is reflective of the information. I think the information that Dinaja shared with us over the last couple of days was also just finalized.
Yeah.
And so we will make sure that on the website and the job board are updated to reflect the information that we're sharing with you all right now. It's just one of the joys of making sure that we can get people up and going and a job board going that we're just still currently working on.
Yes.
Yeah, and I also see that point, like we're in the past where it's like click here to register for the TPE event, and so we're trying to do everything in like one seamless way without having to do separate things like Chris was saying, where in the past if you had like just just bought a job credit to just post on the job board, that'd be one thing and be separate from the TPE event. And so we'll make sure to clean some of that language up for you all. And this is great that you all are asking, because these are the things that we want to know and hear from you all. And Tiara, yes, one recruiter seat is equivalent to one room.
Hey, Tim, I have a follow-up question real quick.
I think you all would have to be together, Tiara, and then Matt, I'll go to your question. Good. Was that Matt?
Yeah.
Yes, go for it, please.
In the TPE virtual experience package, say we got the basic package, we get one job posting. Do we get to determine if that job posting is set for 30, 60, or 90 days, or is it just, what does that look like?
That is a great question. Because in the past it would usually be set until like May 1st. It's just like our generic cutoff date, but we'll
confirm the day.
Yeah, we'll definitely ask that. Because it's currently not on the slide either. And so we'll definitely get clarification on that and make sure that's also on the website.
Excellent, thank you.
No problem.
And then Tiara, so if you want multiple people in one room, you can do that. And so so one recruiter seat is like one table. So if you can have multiple people in a room, like on that, occupying one recruiter seat, kind of managing that. And then again, using your other recruiter seat, you can have like another team set up in another room interviewing a group. Yes, you could do that. And that would be like separate links. Again, the recruiter seats all have their own individual login. And so again, you could use generic accounts that you use, like if you have generic accounts for your processes, you could set them up using that and give like different staff, like multiple staff, access to those generic logins to use those recruiter seats. Or if you wanted to assign, again, specific, if you have a recruiting team or selection team, if you wanted to give them different have them set up as the recruiters and connect them to having logins connected to their specific email addresses, you could do that too. Again, that would determine how you, again, those recruiter seats also get access to sharing like notes on candidates and information. So again, thinking about however you set up those recruiter seats would also determine kind of the access to the notes on candidates and that information. So again, thinking through how you want to strategize that in your process would be something that you want to be mindful of. I see a hand, Katie.
Hi, I just had a question. I already have registered for the new website, and is the $475 on top of what it was already to register? I have a whole like saga, which I know I talked to some of you all about.
Yeah, so the $475 is the standard kind of price for your posting. I would say, again, there would not be any additional cost to participate in the virtual experience or a recruiter fair. Those are just the other events that we're going to facilitate later in February and March. And so again, it would only be additional cost if you were wanting to have more postings on the site, to have like additional recruiter seats, or there's additional cost for, again, some different settings to customize your site or booth, things like that. So no additional cost to participate in like the virtual event days or our recruiter fair.
Thank you.
These are all really good questions and help us understand maybe where in the information we're sharing we need to go. So for employers, we've created, it now is up to a 14-page employer guide that doesn't detail some of this. So this is helpful. So booth pricing, okay.
And Jamal, to answer your question, we will share the slides out with you. Also, the pricing table that was in there, you all will have access to show that to your folks. Oh, I am perfect. No, I'm not. But no, glad to help. Any other questions? Again, we're here to answer, where can I find the employer guide? Funny, we are actually finishing that up. We are finishing that up. And so once we get the employer guide ready to go, we will send it out and link it on our website. But the employer guide is going to be a really great resource for you all, so that way you all can see how things are happening and the different events that we're doing. Because we're also trying to be very mindful of like y'all's time as we go through this experience. And so you will see, even with the recruitment fair, there's going to be a time for East Coast employers to be a part of that time. There's going to be a time for Central employers and a time for Mountain and Pacific employers, like specific time blocks, because we know our candidates and our job seekers, some folks are geographically bound and only want to search in a very specific area. And there wasn't a really great way for us to highlight that. And so through the recruiter fair, we want to give folks the ability to like, here's when all the East Coast employers are going to be highlighted. Here's Central, and so on and so forth. So we're really excited for some of those elements to have happen. And it's just, we're excited to get the platform off the ground and get all these things answered for you. Are there any other questions?
I have another question. I'll just speak it.
Go for it.
Typing it. I signed up for the so I like just got into a lot of this today, and I got lucky that this was today also. But I signed up for this like tomorrow. Will that be stuff to benefit me as an employer as well? Okay.
TPE Academy.
Yes.
Yes.
So TPE Academy, we're going through some of the logistics of the recruiter fair. We'll have some of our HR partners kind of go through, again, if you need to understand how to set up some of your processes. We'll have some coaching, like one-on-one coaching available. And then we're going to walk through too, again, some of the logistics of kind of getting things going in our site for the TPE experience. And so there's 2 sessions for employers and there's 4 sessions for job seekers for the TPE Academy. So yeah, again, it'll be helpful to get engaged in there. And again, we're also being available and accessible to answer some of those more detailed questions about registration and some of the site. So it's all about getting ready for the virtual experience.
And yes, you will get links to the sessions for tomorrow. The different Zoom links, as we just finished creating them yesterday or the day before. I think the other thing that I just want to say is just, as you have feedback or questions, please feel free to email us. I just put the 2 email addresses in there for you all. We know that this is going to be like a growing year, and I apologize. My staff is singing happy birthday to someone. We know that this is going to be a growing year for our platform and the way that we are rebranding our TPE experience. And so we will definitely appreciate all the patience and grace as we go through this. But I think the one thing that Cress and I are just really excited for is that we're now starting to see the physical elements go into the work that we've been doing over the last couple of months along with the committee. Cress, will the recordings be on the website if you cannot make the Academy?
Yes, we will be recording all of the sessions for the Academy and sharing those as soon as we can so they can be accessible as we're doing other events throughout February.
And if you haven't done so, follow us on YouTube. Not that I'm an influencer, but like and subscribe on our YouTube page.
Yes.